Today's lesson is called Nature's Smartest Animals, Day 2. Hi everyone, my name is Jeff.
I'm Roger, and today we're going to continue talking about intelligent creatures that share the earth with us. We talked about humans. Okay, humans are generally considered the most intelligent creatures on earth, but we talked about some other creatures that also are intelligent, maybe not as intelligent as humans, but still they're pretty smart in comparison to other animals. And we talked about elephants. They've got good memories, of course, but they can distinguish between different human languages. That's pretty cool. And then we talked about chimpanzees and the fact that they can use different sign languages and they can communicate with other primates and they can recognize differences in the way other primates or other chimpanzees use their signs.
Yeah, and everyone knew or had heard that elephants have great memories. And everyone probably already knew that certain apes like chimpanzees and bonobos are really, really smart. Now, today, though, we are going to be sharing some examples with you guys, some examples of smart animals that people don't normally think of when they think of smart animals. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about some surprisingly intelligent animals that might just take you guys by surprise or which might just catch you by surprise. So guys, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start reading once again right after this.
It's not just land animals that exhibit a keen intellect. Creatures in the sea and sky are also among the brainiest beasts in the world. Complex communication. Dolphins are famously smart, and the structure of their brains is more complex than that of humans. Although the way they communicate is not yet completely understood, scientists believe that they may actually be able to project images to each other through sound. Extremely social, these animals whistle to stay in contact with the rest of their pod, and may even use unique whistles to call different members of the group.
大家好，今天第一个单字我们看到的是 exhibit， 这个字当作动词，代表表现、展现或是陈列的意思。例如 This conference is your chance to exhibit your strong public speaking skills. 这场会议是展现你优秀演说技巧的机会。接下来我们看到的单字是 keen， 这个字当作形容词，它有机灵的或是敏锐的意思。所以我们可以说 Roger has a keen sense of what products young people will buy.Roger 对于年轻人会买什么产品有敏锐的判断。
Okay, our lesson today begins by saying it's not just land animals that exhibit a keen intellect. Now, remember we were talking about primates last time, and we were talking about elephants, okay? These are land animals. They spend their lives walking on the land. They can't fly, they can't swim, at least not very well. So they spend most of their lives on the land, and they exhibit keen intellect. Now, to exhibit just means you show something, you let other people know that you have this, or you display this sort of thing. You can exhibit things in an art museum, for example, but in this particular case, not only land animals can exhibit keen intellect, but other creatures can as well. And here we also have the word keen, which can mean several things, but here keen just means sharp, okay? Very high levels of intelligence.
There you go. It's not just land animals that exhibit keen intellect. So yeah, apparently we're going to be moving off of dry land and into water. Okay, to find these animals, these surprisingly smart animals, we are going to head to the ocean or into the sea. And this is kind of surprising to me. After all, fish live in the ocean. Fish live in the sea. And fish have never stricken me, or struck me, I should say, as being particularly intelligent. In fact, fish seem pretty stupid to me. They've never exhibited signs of having a keen intellect. And yes, to exhibit something in this case, yeah, it's kind of like exhibiting something in public, like a piece of art or something like that. But here, it's to show or to display. But to show something or to display that thing in a way that signals something or betrays something. And yeah, fish have never betrayed anything to me that showed or display the fact that they possess a keen intellect or that they were sharp in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, the teeth of some fish are sharp, but fish themselves, they don't strike me as being particularly brainy.
Yeah, also this word keen here can kind of mean cool or excellent. Like when my friend Jeff back in high school bought himself a 1968 Ford Mustang, I said, "Oh, Jeff, that is a really keen car. That's a really cool car." But here, yes, it's not just land animals that show intelligence. Creatures in the sea and the sky are also among the brainiest beasts in the world. Here, the word brainy just means smart. It's just kind of a slang word for having a lot of brains, being very smart. So brainy, brainier, the brainiest.
Yeah, brainiest. It's the superlative form of the adjective brainy. Brainy, brainier, that's the comparative form, and then brainiest, that's the superlative form of this particular adjective. And like Roger said before, the word brainy means smart, intelligent, clever. You guys get the idea. But like I said before, fish, they don't strike me at all as being brainy. Fish, they've got those dead eyes. They look really, really stupid. But apparently, we're not going to be talking about fish. Yes, there is a surprisingly smart animal to be found in the ocean blue. And let's start talking about dolphins right now. The next part of our article is called Complex Communication. And yes, we're talking about dolphins. And yet, dolphins, folks, are not fish. Dolphins are mammals. So yeah, fish, guys, are definitely stupid. Dolphins, though, being mammals, are definitely not stupid. Apparently, they can communicate in complex and complicated ways. How about that?
How about that? So yes, indeed, we're talking about dolphins here, which are basically small little whales. And they are famously smart, and the structure of their brains is more complex than that of humans. Interesting, they might actually be smarter than us. Although the way they communicate is not yet completely understood, scientists believe that they may actually be able to project images to each other through sound. Isn't that interesting? So yes, we can hear their little clicks and their little beeps and their whistles underwater, but we don't really know exactly what they're saying to each other or what kinds of messages they're sending to each other. But scientists have studied this for a long time, and they think, hey, these dolphins are actually sending images to each other by using sound. So if they use sound, maybe the other dolphins who hear the signal can kind of construct some kind of mental image in their brains, and they communicate that way.
That's pretty cool. They communicate by projecting images to one another. So, yeah, human beings, when we speak words, and the words mean things, and people hear those words, can associate those words with the meaning. Dolphins apparently just use sound, and those sounds carry images, and those images mean things to other dolphins. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty complex. That's actually astoundingly amazing. I don't know what to say, so I'm going to keep reading. The next sentence says, extremely social, these animals whistle to stay in contact with the rest of their pod and may even use unique whistles to call different members of the group, i.e., yeah, they've got a unique whistle for each member of that group. So each individual can be associated with their own whistle, their own sound. So that's kind of like a name for each dolphin in that dolphin pod. And yes, here a pod of dolphins is a herd of dolphins. Yeah, it's a group of whales or dolphins. Yes, this word pod here refers to a herd, although you don't call that group a herd, actually. You call that group a pod. Here, a pod is like a herd of whales or dolphins.
Exactly. So this sentence begins by saying extremely social. So we could also say because they are extremely social, therefore these animals whistle. To whistle, they do that to stay in contact with the rest of the members of their group, with their pod. And, of course, they have special whistles for special dolphins within the group. Isn't that wonderful? I guess scientists are figuring these things out all the time. Here we come to the next part of our lesson. Let's listen first.
Far from bird-brained. Several species of bird have shown themselves to be highly intelligent as well. For years, parrots were assumed to simply mimic human language. But experiments with a parrot named Alex have suggested that they also understand language. During one such experiment, Alex asked his trainer what color he was. He is thought to be the only animal to have ever asked a question. Crows and ravens are also clever. These birds can use logic to solve problems they have never seen before.
第二部分我们看到的单字是 assume， 这个字当作动词，代表假定或是以为的意思。例如 Max wasn't at school today, so I assume he is sick. Max 今天不在学校，所以我认为他生病了。接下来我们看到的单字是 mimic， 这个字当作动词，它有模仿、仿效的意思。例如表演者模仿了好几种鸟的叫声，英文可以这么说 The performer mimicked the calls of several birds. 再来我们看到的单字是 logic， 这个字当作名词，它有逻辑或是思维方式的意思。所以我们可以说 This article is hard to understand, for there is no logic in it. 这篇文章难以理解，因为它没有任何逻辑。
Okay, another surprising animal for you guys. Yeah, the next part of our lesson is called far from bird-brained. Yeah, birds, they've got a bad rap. Very often people think that birds are stupid. Yeah, birds are small and have small brains, so people think, hey, because those birds have small brains, they must be stupid. So sometimes when you call someone bird-brained, what you're saying is that person has a brain like a bird or a small brain, i.e. this person is stupid, but apparently birds are far from bird-brained. At least certain types of birds are.
They're not at all stupid, basically. So several species of bird have shown themselves to be highly intelligent as well. To show something to be just means to exhibit or to demonstrate these qualities. Lots of birds have shown and have let themselves known to be intelligent. For years, parrots were assumed to simply mimic human language. To assume just means you kind of think something is true based on past information. Hey, you're from Germany, so I assume that you like to drink beer. Okay, that's an assumption I'm making here. But here, people just think, well, parrots are just copying what they hear. They're not really generating speech themselves. And that's what mimicking here is. To mimic just means to copy something, especially if you are speaking, but also you can mimic by gestures, by using the same kinds of gestures that someone uses. But in this particular case, they're actually just saying words that they hear.
There you go. To mimic is to act like or to imitate someone or something. You kind of copy that thing like Roger said before. And yes, to assume something is to make an assumption about something. Like Roger said before, assumption is the noun, assume is the verb. And yes, if you assume something, you believe, think, or suppose that something is true, even though you don't have proof. And yeah, people have always assumed that birds were stupid. Yeah, but that's not exactly true. Several species of bird have shown themselves to be highly intelligent. They've proven themselves to be intelligent, or they've shown evidence of being intelligent. How about that? And yeah, parrots. People just thought that parrots were mimics or that they were mimicking human language. But experiments with a parrot named Alex have suggested that they also understand language. Yeah, they just don't copy language. They understand it.
Right, so for example, during one such experiment, when they were studying this parrot named Alex, Alex asked his trainer what color he was. So I guess this is kind of proof that he could generate his own ideas. He wasn't just copying that. He could understand the language. Maybe no one had ever said that question to him before, so they wondered, how could he know how to say that if he's not mimicking it? He must have generated this question himself. And he is thought to be the only animal to have ever asked a question. Okay, so I guess most other animals don't ask questions, at least in a spoken form.
There you go. Now, parrots are great, but get this, crows and ravens are also clever. Now, everyone knows that crows are annoying, but they're also quite smart. How about that? Now, before we move on, though, I just mentioned crows. What's a raven? Because we're talking about crows and then ravens. Well, a raven is kind of like a crow. It might be in the same family. They look a lot like crows, except they're much bigger. Yeah, a raven is a large crow-like bird that is very black in color. Now let's go ahead and move on. The next sentence says, these birds, crows and ravens, these birds apparently can use logic to solve problems they have never seen before. So parrots can ask questions, and then crows and ravens can use logic. If that is not an example, or if these aren't examples of intelligence, I don't know what is. Anyways, yes, these birds can use logic, apparently. What's logic? Logic is the ability to think clearly and to reach conclusions using reason.
Yeah, I understand that crows can actually use tools to get food, and I think one kind of crow, the New Caledonian crow, can actually use 2 sets of tools to get food at, and that's quite surprising. So yes, they can solve problems, and I also have heard that crows can actually give presents to people in gratitude for feeding them. How about that? Okay, let's move on now to the next part of our lesson. We'll listen to it first.
Although we tend to think of animals as less smart than humans, it's clear that some are remarkably intelligent. Perhaps we have a thing or two to learn from the creatures with whom we share this planet.
今天最后一个单字，我们看到的是 remarkably。这个字当作副词，它有显著的或是出色的意思。例如 Joseph's son is a remarkably talented piano player who has won several music awards. Joseph 的儿子是一名出色的钢琴演奏者，他曾赢得多项音乐奖项。
All right, folks, we're back, and we're here to wrap up our article on smart animals. Okay, let's go ahead and dig right in. The next sentence says, although we tend to think of animals as less smart than humans, it's clear that some are remarkably intelligent. So like I said during the introduction for our entire lesson, yeah, usually when we're talking about smart animals, humans aren't a part of that discussion, okay? We kind of separate ourselves from the rest of the animal kingdom. Yes, we tend to think of animals as less smart than human beings. We think we're smarter than animals, but this thing is clear. It's clear that some are remarkably intelligent. Elephants, chimpanzees, ravens, crows, dolphins, they're all capable of doing amazing stuff. Geesh, right before the last break, we learned that a parrot named Alex actually asked a question. That is staggering. That is a signal or a sign of some remarkable intelligence. Anyways, we didn't use the adjective, I should say, remarkable in that previous sentence there. We used the adverb remarkably. But yeah, the two words are most definitely related. But let's talk about this word right now, the adverb remarkably. The word remarkably means in a way that is hard to ignore or in a way that is substantial and significant. Yeah, very simply, the word remarkably is similar to the words very or extremely.
Worthy of commenting on, basically. So they're remarkably intelligent. They're extremely intelligent. Perhaps we have a thing or two to learn from the creatures with whom we share this planet. A thing or two. We often say this when we talk about knowing things. Hey, I know a thing or two about medieval European history. I've studied it for a long time, so you should ask me questions about that as an example. Actually, I don't know anything about European history, but in any case, there you have it.
Don't sell yourself short there, Roger. You know tons about medieval European history. You're kind of an expert. Yeah, you know a thing or two about that. You know a lot about that subject. You know a large amount about that subject. Right there, when you use this phrase, I know a thing or two, you are making an understatement. Yeah, that's usually how this phrase is used, okay? When you say you know a thing or two about something, okay, you're saying that you know a lot about that thing, but like I said, you're using this phrase as a part of an understatement. You're being slightly ironic, maybe. Anyways, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a break, but don't go away. The Chinese teacher is on her way.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分有一句是 Extremely social, these animals whistle to stay in contact with the rest of their pod and may even use unique whistles to call different members of the group. 这些动物是高度群居的动物，会发出吹哨声来跟同群的其他海豚保持联系，甚至可能会用独特的哨音来呼叫群体中不同的成员。好，那这个句子的前半句我们只看到 extremely social 这样2个字而已，它没有主词也没有连接词。好，这其实是分词构句的用法。如果把这个句子还原，它可以写作 These animals are extremely social and they whistle to stay in contact 怎么样怎么样。那由于前后2个子句的主词相同，那它就是把连接词 and 还有前半句的主词省略，然后再把 be 动词 are 改成分词 being 通常也会省略，那就剩下后面的 extremely social。 所以这句它被简化成形容词逗号主词加动词的结构。当同学们看到这句型时，你就要记得形容词就是用来形容逗号后面的那个主词。好，另外除了一般形容词之外，我们也常常会看到过去分词逗号主词加动词的句型结构。如果过去分词是当形容词来用的话，就可以放在句首，那它的功能同样就是用来修饰逗号后面的主词。例如 terrified The boy ran out of the house immediately. 那个男孩被吓到，马上冲出房子。好，顺便补充一下，课文句子里面用到 stay in contact with 什么什么，这个意思就跟 keep in contact with 什么什么一样，用来表达说跟什么保持联系。那我们还可以用 get in contact with somebody 表达跟某人取得联系， lose contact with somebody 表达跟某人失去联系，Make contact with somebody 来表达跟某人联系。好，接着读到课文第2部分有一句是 During one such experiment, Alex asked his trainer what color he was. He is thought to be the only animal to have ever asked a question. 在其中一项实验中，艾利克斯问他的训练员他是什么颜色。那一般认为他是曾经唯一提出问题的动物。这个后半句的 he is thought to be 怎么样，是表达一般认为他怎么样怎么样。那这边就帮同学们整理3种句型，可以用来表达一般认为怎么样，一般相信怎么样。好，第一种是 people think 或者是 people believe 加上 that 子句。那第2种句型是 it is thought 或者是 it is believed 加上 that 子句。好，那我们接着其实可以把 that 子句里面的主词移到句首，然后把动词改成被动语态，后面再接不定词，就会形成课文它用到的句型。主词 is thought 或者是 is believed 加上不定词。举例来说It is thought that the painting is over 500 years old. 一般认为那幅画有超过500年的历史。那这个句子也可以改写成 The painting is thought to be over 500 years old. 好，那以上是今天的重点整理，我们接着就来回顾今天的单字吧。
Exhibit. Catherine exhibited a strong sense of courage in the face of danger. Keen.David was a keen student, which helped him get into the competitive medical program. Assume. I assume you have all read the book and are prepared to write an essay on it. Mimic. My cousin is able to mimic several famous celebrities as well as various animals. Logic. This puzzle requires a certain amount of logic to solve. Remarkably. Given that he has only practiced for a few months, he is remarkably talented at dancing.
Discussion starter starts now!
All right, folks, now it's time for our discussion starter. Roger, which animal's intelligence were you most surprised to learn about, and why?
Well, I was surprised to learn about elephants being able to distinguish between different languages because I thought they just had good memories. They look like they're too big and too dumb to tell the differences between different languages. How about you?
Well, I didn't realize that parrots were so smart, but apparently they really are. Remember that parrot Alex from the second part of our lesson? The fact that Alex asked a question using a human language, this fact is totally staggering to me. So yeah, that was pretty surprising to say the least. Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.